guys, so we're going to get going with a recovery session on this video. It's going to be about 20 minutes long. We're just going to do a bit of a tour of the body, starting from the feet, working all the way up through, and hopefully by the end of it, you're feeling nice and stretched out. So follow along, join in, just take your time. If there's anything that causes any pain or discomfort, just skip over that one. Remember, this is all about recovery and getting stretched out. It's not about being super sweaty, getting that heart rate going. It should just be a nice, gentle flow. Okay, so we're going to start with some ankle circles. So just drawing some circles with your feet. If you need to hold on to anything, then not a problem. But just take your time to draw those circles. And then back the other way. And then switch sides. If you cannot hold on, try to. So it's just going to help wake your brain up a little bit as well. Get those muscles going. Government guidelines are to fit in balance work into your week as well. So obviously not really playing sport at the moment, so a bit more of a challenge. So from now, I'm going to go into pointing the toes and bringing them back up. So just really loosening up that ankle. Again, if you can do so, stood on one leg. It's good for your balance. And then switch on to the other side. So see, I'm wobbling a little bit, but I'm just correcting my balance as I go. I feel all the muscles in my feet, my calves working a little bit as well. Okay, so now the ankles and calves are warmed up a little bit, I'm going to go into a kneeling stretch. So lunge position. What we do is we're just going to push forward on the knee, keeping the heel down. We're going to feel this nice stretch up the back of the calf and in the Achilles. So just pushing on there, support yourself. You can do this in a squat position as well, whatever's most comfortable for you, but we're just really trying to stretch this bit out here. You can even use your hand just to hold that ankle in place as you just stretch into the movement. I'm just going to hold that position there just for a few more seconds. And then switch sides. So lunge position, rock forward, apply some pressure. If you need to, just hold that foot down, just while you're stretching into it. Really grip the floor with your feet. And just be mindful of your range of motion. Is it the same as the other side? Just really stretch it out. Okay, so now I stretch them out. We're just going to do a slightly more dynamic stretch. So coming up into a yoga pike position. And we're just going to do a slow march with the calves. Just feeling that really nice stretch down the back of the legs. If you've got one side that's a little tighter than the other, so my left's feeling a bit tighter, I'm just going to spend a little bit longer stretching that side out than I am the right. Take some nice deep breaths. Remember, you're not holding your breath, we're just controlling everything. Okay, and then we're just going to sit with our feet flat, so toes pointed, and we're just going to sit back into that position. Now, some of you will be able to sit here really comfortably, others, well, this will be a bit more of a stretch. So I'm just going to sit there just for a few seconds, just stretch out the other way. If you need to, you can just place your hands on the floor just to take a little bit of pressure off. Sitting onto your heels. Okay, so we're just going to finish off the ankles with some wall ankle rocks. So place your foot near the wall, heel down, driving that foot over to touch the wall. So ankle dorsiflexion, that's the range of motion we're working on now, is incredibly important for all sorts of athletic abilities, from sprinting to squatting with a weight. And they say everything starts with your feet, so if you've got any issues lower down, it then affects everything else on the way up. So switch sides. Okay, so we move a little bit further up the body now. So we're going to pop ourselves onto our back. I'm just going to sit nice and tall. If you need to, you can put your hands behind you, but we just want to start stretching out the back of the calves, but now up into the hamstrings as well. So pull the toes towards you, sit nice and tall, and then we're just going to move the toes forwards and back. So that's plantar flexion, and that's dorsiflexion. So point the toes, bring them back all the time. Try and sit nice and tall, and just stretching everything out. And then moving on to our backs, legs straight again, make sure you're not going to kick anything. One leg is bent, core engaged, and just bringing it up nice and slowly. You're just going to be mindful of what angle you can get up to, and then we'll compare that to the side. But remember, we've got to fix the hips. We're not getting a range of motion from the lower back, just from the hip joint. And then switch sides. So mine feels relatively even today. And then from there, place that foot over your knee, and then you're going to pull the knee in, and then just push it out and back in. So it's just an internal, external rotation, mobility drill for the hips. Just a nice gentle one to get started as we're moving up the body. And we just relax into the floor. And then switch sides. Again, you might find one side a lot stiffer than the other. Just spend a little bit more time on that side. You've been sat down a lot, this is going to be a really nice stretch, getting those hips loosened up. And then we're going to go into some glute activation now, so hips coming up, squeeze, and then slower under control. And this is all about just being in tune with everything. Is anything tight? Got any muscle soreness anywhere? Does anything feel nice and fresh? We've got a session plan later in the day that you can make the most of. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit more dynamic now. Now we've kind of got the range of motions going. So we're going to go to a nice wide Cossack stance. What's important on this is we're going to come over, touch the floor, and then as we come back through, you've got to make sure you squeeze in the glutes like you're locking out a sumo deadlift, okay? So we're not staying here, we're coming all the way through. So down, touch, squeeze the glutes. Really focus on that posture, just like you would if you were doing a sumo deadlift. And as you come down, that knee should be pushed out to the side, and you should be feeling that lovely stretch through the adductors, so that's these muscles on the inside of your thighs. Okay, come back to the centre. I'm just going to go into a nice hamstring stretch. If you can, get those hands on the floor. If you can't, then don't worry, just go as far as you can, as far as comfortable. And we're just going to move from one side to the other. Nice and gentle. Just taking a time. Stretch everything out. If you need to bring your feet closer together, you can do. Just sort of move the hips around, just do a nice 3D stretch. The hamstrings and the adductors. Okay, so put yourself into the lunge position. If you can, pull that foot up. I'm just going to hold that stretch. And if you can, try and let go. Rely on that core, your engagement of your foot on the floor. Just hold that position. Some nice deep breaths. It's often a really tough stretch. If you need to, you can just let that foot down and just focus in that lunge, tall kneeling, lunge position. Half kneeling even. Tall kneeling is when both knees are on the floor. Just squeeze the glute, brace the core, feel it here. And from there, let that foot down. We're just going to rock into that movement. So this is pulling together the hip stretches, also coming back and just revisiting the ankle a little bit. Just putting all these together. Getting stretched out. And take your foot a little bit wider. We're going to kind of go at 45 degrees. And now just tying that adductor. We were loosening off and getting moving again. Okay, so we'll switch sides now. So we're going to go back to our stretch. So stretching the left-hand side now, or the right if you started on your left. Pull that foot up or leave it down, whatever's most comfortable to you. Squeeze the glutes, brace the abs, and that's going to increase that stretch. Just hold that position. Nice controlled breathing. Move around in that stretch, find out where you can get a little bit more from it. Pull that foot up higher if you want. Okay, down into our regular hip flexor half kneeling position. and then just rocking forwards and back. Remember, we're loosening up the hip, but also this front ankle as well. Good posture. Don't let yourself get hunched over. Take that step out to the side. Start coming 45 degrees into it. Oh, I've got a few creaky ankles today. Okay, now I'm going to come back into a knee and rock back position and just come back down and just stretch out. And just finish off that little sequence just with a nice stretch. Okay, I'm going to finish off the lower body with a glute stretch. This is one of my absolute favourites. Sitting nice and tall again, foot across, and you're going to wrap your arm around your knee and pull it to your opposite shoulder. So sit nice and tall, just stretch out the back of your glute, back of the hip. If you want to, you can turn into that stretch a little bit. Lift that chest, that'll increase your stretch a bit more. And then switch sides. And just use that arm as a lever just to pull that knee in a little bit more. Feel that stretch through the hip. A few more seconds. And relax. So, back down onto our backs now. So we're just going to move up into the upper half of the body. So starting with some lying knee rocks. So just as far as you're comfortable. This is just getting the lower back and the hips warmed up a little bit. You can put your arms out into a cross position. And if you push the backs, the hands into the floor, you do start to get a really nice stretch through the chest as well. So if you want to throw that in, often that's a very restricted area for a lot of people from being sat at desks. This is a nice double whammy. And then roll over onto your side, knees together, palms together, and then we're going to sweep the hand up in a big arc, and then bring the hand into the small of your back. And then come back out again. I'm just going to have to shuffle down, create a bit more space for myself. You need more than you think. So you need to put something under your head as well, just to support your head, that's okay. But reach up and round, put the hand in the small of your back, and then come back out again. This is working your shoulder through a massive range of motion, getting the pecs stretched out. Once you've done a few of those, switch onto the other side. So it's all the way up and round, hand into the small of the back, and then come back out and really try and keep the knees together. Go for one more. And then come through into this position. Take the hands double, triple shoulder width, whatever's most comfortable. And then we're just going to move from side to side. And just feel that chest loosen up. You can move your knees further back. That makes the challenge a little bit greater. And then again, just rocking yourself back, reaching forward, just stretching everything out. Okay, so we're going to spend a little bit of time on wrists now. Wrists, forearms, again, lots of typing on computers can get quite restricted. So, like we did with the ankles, we're just going to do some circles to start with. Mine are crunching and creaking, so yours might be too. And then back the other way. And just make some fists and really spread those fingers out as much as you can. Set good posture. And then you're going to take one hand, arm out straight in front, and just apply a gentle bit of pressure to stretch out the forearm flexors. We can do this in a tall kneeling position as well. So if you want to squeeze the glutes, brace the abs, it's like a bit of a double whammy. Doesn't have to be a big stretch this, we're just trying to be gentle, stretching out this part of the body. And switch sides. And then into your money drill, so palms up, stretching, shoulders back. I'm starting to get a little warm now, which is nice. Kind of this active recovery we talk about is that intensity whereby you're getting the muscles a bit warmer, you're stretching them and working them through a full range of motion, increasing the blood supply to that area. It's obviously going to shuttle nutrients in. Just enough to get the heart rate elevated, start to make you feel like you've got a bit of a glow, which is always a nice way to start the day. Or if you're watching this later on, break it up, or if you're doing it before bed, it's a perfect way just to chill out and unwind. Okay, so we're just going to move up into the shoulders and the neck now. So just nice, smooth head rolls. Again, slightly a little crunchy. And then back the other way. And just pull those shoulders back. Just gently bring your head over, sort of 45 degrees. Just feel this nice stretch down the back of the neck. Again, like the wrist stretch, not a big stretch. Just find a gentle little bit of tension. A few deep breaths. And then the other side. And then just a few shoulder rolls. So every time you pick shoulders up and drop them down, just try and breathe out and just let your any tension go. Right, I'm going to finish up with some belly breathing. Always a good way To end the recovery session, so pop yourself on your back, relax out. If you want to, hands on your belly. Just feeling the belly rise with each breath. I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes here, but you can spend as long as you want. Just try not to think of anything at all. Nice deep breaths. And stay there if you'd like to, but I'm going to finish off there. Was definitely feeling the effects of this week's workouts, particularly legs and upper back, but seems to have done the job, getting loosened up. So hope you enjoyed that. Any feedback, let me know. Any particular areas you want to work on. If anything, you're struggling with a recovery in any particular part of your training, just mention it.